John 8:58 doesn't mean what you think it does. Hey guys, my name is Will. I run a channel called Milwaukee where we talk about biblical concepts and truths within it. So today, guys, we're looking at verses one by one here, and we're going to be looking at John 8:58. Commonly, this is one of the biggest Trinitarian verses out there. Everyone uses this, and they completely misuse this verse. So we're going to look at the Greek. We're going to look at the verse that it's so-called quoting from, and its relationship between that verse. So let's just get started right away. So here in John 8:58, it says this: Jesus said to them, "Truly, truly, I say to you, before Abraham was born, I am." So what Christians do, or especially Trinitarians, I should say Trinitarians, what Trinitarians do is they take the I am there, right? Before Abraham was, I am. And they apply it to Exodus chapter 3, verse 14. And only the Masoretic text kind of helps them. And we'll look at it. So here in Exodus 3:14, it says, "And God said to Moses, I am who I am. And he said, this is what you shall say to the sons of Israel. I am has sent me to you." So they're applying this because was Jesus sent by God? Yes. Okay, so if the bottom part of Exodus 3:14 says, I am has sent you, and then we go back to John 8:58, they say, before Abraham was, I am. So this is Jesus claiming to be the I am back in Exodus. And this is so incredibly wrong. Honestly, when Trinitarians do this, it's called an equivocation fallacy, where they're applying that both of these things mean exactly the same thing. So one easy way to debunk this is we're going to look at Exodus chapter 3, verse 14 from the Septuagint. Now, if you're not aware, the Septuagint is the Old Testament, but it's in Greek. So it was written about the 3rd or 2nd century, like before Jesus came, right? So this is BC. So the Septuagint is not holding any type of bias here, right? It's not pro or anti-Jesus. So you can't say, this was written by Jews to be anti-Jesus, or this was written for Christians to be pro-Jesus, whatever. This is a very honest text, and I do appreciate this. So let's go in and read. So Exodus 3:14 here says, "And God spoke to Moses, saying, I am the being." So what we have right here, real quick, just want to do a quick pause. The I am is ego eimi. The being is haon in Greek. So notice in the Septuagint, it's all capitalized for the being. It's all capitalized, showing that is the part where it's associating it to God. Okay, we're going to keep reading. "And he said, thus shall ye say to the children of Israel, the being, or haon, has sent me to you." Okay, so it is associating with haon has sent me. But what does Jesus say in John 8:58? He says, ego eimi. He doesn't say haon. He says ego eimi, which both are said together in Exodus 3:14, where it says, I am the being, ego eimi haon. Absolutely, that is there. However, when we go down to the bottom part of the Exodus, where the I am is in the Masoretic text, it's absent from there, because there is no correlation. There is no symmetry there. Literally, by using a very poor translation of I am to make it sound the same, that Jesus is calling himself an I am, and God says I am in Exodus 3:14, Trinitarians make this imaginary connection that's just not there. That's just poor. But let's just assume that if someone calls themselves ego eimi, this means that they're God, right? So we're going to look at all the examples of this because, again, people, but before, here's the Strong's concordance numbers for ego eimi. As we can see here, it literally just means I have existed, or to exist, to be, I am. Those are the translations for that word of I am. It's as simple as that. So again, Yeshua was simply saying that before Abraham was, or before Abraham was created, existed, brought forth, I have existed. That's all he's saying. That's all he's saying. So unless you're a Socinian, you would agree with this for the most part. of the existence of the plan, the idea, the manifestation, whoever of Christ, he has existed. You know, we see this in John chapter 1, where he writes it in a type of mystical midrash way. So now when we go in, we're going to look at the Hebrew first, which is the I am, the Ehyeh in the Old Testament. So here in Judges chapter 11, verse 9, Japheth calls him Ehyeh. So it says this. So Japheth said to the elders of Gilead, if you bring me back to fight against the sons of Ammon, and the Lord gives them up to me, I will, or Ehyeh, become your head. This is the I am that we see in Exodus 3:14. Okay, so it's not some special divine name that's only given to God. Other people say it in Ruth chapter 2, verse 13. Then she said, I have found favor in your sight, my Lord, for you have comforted me, and indeed have spoken kindly to your servant. Though I am Ehyeh, not like one of your female servants. Okay, David also calls himself this in 1 Samuel 18:18. But David said to Saul, who am I, and who is my family or my father's family in Israel, that I should be Ehyeh, the king's son-in-law? Here's some more. Jonathan says this in 1 Samuel 23:17. He said to him, do not be afraid, because the hand of Saul, my father, will not find you, and you will be king over Israel. And I, Ehyeh, will be second in command to you. And Saul, my father, knows that as well. Here's Shushai in 2 Samuel 16:18. So Shushai, son of Absalom, no, for whoever the Lord, this people and all the men of Israel have chosen, his I shall be Ehyeh, and with him I shall remain. Job also says this in Job chapter 12, verse 4. I am Ehyeh, a joke to my friends, the one who called on God and he answered him. The just and blameless man is a joke. So here we see in the Masoretic text in the Hebrew that most Bible translations use now. This is not some special wording that is only applied to God. We see all these examples, and guys, there's plenty more. There's plenty more. I just picked out the first ones that I saw. Okay, if you want, go through the Old Testament, go to any type of Bible source online, whatever. Type in the I am in the Old Testament in the Hebrew, the Ehyeh, you will be able to find it's used multiple times. It's not just by God. It is not a name to him. It is not solely directed to him. It's a lie. It's a lie that Trinitarian pastors, preachers use to say because it sounds good. And this proves that they have not tested what they speak, but it just sounds good to them, like, oh, Jesus is God, because John 8:58, he calls himself I am. They don't even know or understand that so many other people have called themselves I am in the Hebrew. And we're going to get to the Greek too. So here's the I am, the Elohim in the New Testament. So here, Matthew 26:25 says this, and Judas, who was betraying him, said, surely it is not I, Elohim, Rabbi. And Jesus said to him, you have said it yourself. So here Judas uses it, okay? Now here's Luke chapter 1, verse 19. The angel answered and said to him, I am Elohim, Gabriel, who stands in the presence of God, and I was sent to speak to you and to bring you this good news. So now Gabriel is apparently this I am, right? These Elohim, because he calls himself that. So John 9:9. The others were saying, this is he. Still others were saying, no, but he is like him. The man himself kept saying, I am Elohim, the one. This is the story about the blind man. So please go back and read this. And then we get to Acts chapter 10, verse 21. Peter went down to the men and said, behold, I am Elohim, the one you were looking for. What is the reason for which you have come? So now Peter claims to be this I am. So now is what? Is Judas, is Gabriel, the blind man, Peter, are they God too? Are they Jesus? Are they the Messiah because they claim to be Elohim? No, of course not. That's silly. That doesn't make any sense. Elohim simply means this. But we're going to get to Paul real quick because Paul uses this several times. So for the first instance, we got Acts chapter 22, verse 3, where he says, Elohim, a Jew born in Tarsus of Cilicia, but brought up in this city, educated under Gamaliel, strictly according to the law of our fathers, being zealous for God, just as you all are today. Acts 26:29. And Paul said, I would wish to God that even in a short or long time, not only you, but also all who hear me this day would become such as myself am I, ego aim, except for these chains. Romans 11:13. But I am speaking to you who are Gentiles. Therefore, insofar as I am, ego aim, an apostle for Gentiles, I magnify my ministry. And 1 Timothy 1:15. It is a trustworthy statement observing all acceptance that Jesus Christ came into the world to save sinners, among who I am the foremost. So I mean, this is just so frustrating because we're going to keep going, guys. We're going to keep going just to show you, to give you guys enough evidence of this ego aim is not some special title. Because we can make the argument here that if ego aim means that you're God, Paul says this at least 4 times. He says this a lot more throughout his letters. Again, I'm not going to make a slide because I'd be here all night, where every time he said ego aim. But you could even make the stupid argument that Paul's more God than Yeshua because he says it more times than he. You know what I mean? So this clearly just doesn't, work. But now we're going to go to the Septuagint, and we're going to look at first Jacob in Genesis 27:32, where it says, and Isaac his father said to him, who art thou? And he said, I am, Egoim, thy firstborn son Esau. And Deborah with Judges 5:3, hear ye kings, and hearken rulers, I will sing. It is I to the Lord. It is I will sing a song to the Lord of God of Israel. And Gideon also says it in Judges 6:15. And Gideon said to him, with me, my Lord, whereby shall I save Israel? Behold, my 1,000 is weakened in Manasseh, and I am, Egoim, the least in my father's house. I mean, guys, this is pretty obvious. The only thing that Jesus was claiming here is that he has existed before Abraham was. It's talking about a divine nature, whether he was the plan, however you want to argue this. He was how John puts it, he is the Logos, right? From the Targums, the Aramaic Bible, it talks about the Memora, or the word of the Lord. However you want to define that as a type of pre-existence or he was the plan that God wanted to use to save the world. That's what existed before Abraham. This is not a title, guys. This is not a title that Jesus is claiming to make. So there is one guy though I want to bring up. So I don't know if you guys have seen him on YouTube Shorts or TikTok or anything like that, any other social media. But this guy Cliff, he does a lot of street preaching, and he's not good. There's a lot of people I know who love him. He's not a good street preacher. And look, this is not me hating on him. This is not me hating. This is me just being honest. One of the arguments I heard him make was regarding, what was it? How can you prove God exists? He's like, I can't. How can I prove? Like, how do I know that you exist? Are we going to live everything? Like, he gives very bad examples. He doesn't use the word of God as much as one should. But for you guys, I did want to play something that he says. So this was him on a podcast, and I'm going to play it so you guys can hear.
The Bible does it state that he's God?
Very good. John chapter 8, verse 58. I just want you to read that verse for yourself. Jesus says, before Abraham was born, I am. Now, the Jews did not call God G-O-D. The Jews called God Yahweh.
Oh, I thought it was Adonai.
Yes, also Adonai and El Shaddai. Those are different names for God.
Got it.
And one of them was Yahweh, which is the Hebrew verb to be. I am who I am. There was no misunderstanding. The Jews picked up stones to stone him for blasphemy. Before Abraham was born, I am. Deliberately, Christ is claiming to be God. Then in
Okay, so that's that. This is what I was talking about, guys. So stuff that Cliff was saying. I mean, yeah. I mean, you guys heard it. This is him saying, this is him being claiming to be God. Now, his argument is going to be, why did the Jews pick up stones to kill him? Okay. Now, this is a bit of a longer explanation, but it's valid. Okay. Going back to the book of John, we see one of the Pharisees meets him in private, and he tells Jesus, Yeshua, that we know you are from God. Okay. Now, the Pharisees are threatened by him because of what he is saying. Okay. They know he has this divine authority. They know he's from God. So they accuse him from getting his powers from Beelzebub. Okay. That's when Jesus comes out with the famous thing of, about blaspheming the Holy Spirit is the unforgivable sin. Now, the reason why he brings that up is because Jesus, again, all power and authority was given to him. So he can now act as God, as the agent of God now. So he knows the heart of these people. So he knows what they're thinking, their true intentions are. And I mean, we even see this with Judas, right? Because the Father has allowed Yeshua to act as him on this earth without literally being him. So the Pharisees were threatened by him because they didn't want people to listen to him and to accept him as the Messiah. They wanted to hide it. Why? Because it was for political gain. Yeshua came and was saying how they're doing it wrong, that people should turn away from them, and they didn't want to lose their followers. That's why they wanted to stone him to get rid of him. So whenever he made a statement, which they accepted and they knew who he was, right? Because even after he was crucified, they said, oh, surely he was from God. They wanted to cover it up, have the Roman soldiers guard his body. They didn't repent or anything because they were so hard-hearted. That's it. They didn't want to lose a political game. So if they were to accept that he was the Messiah and he's coming in to say, you guys are doing this wrong, they're going to get kicked out. They're going to lose their privileges. And that's not that. They didn't want that to happen. That's why they wanted him killed. Not because he was claiming to be I am. Because again, guys, we went through the Masoretic, we went through the New Testament Greek, we went through the Old Testament Septuagint, the Greek there. The ego aim means nothing. It's not a title of God. So for him to say that they were going to stone me because I claimed to be ego aim, that's just wrong. Because why wasn't Judas? Why wasn't Peter? Why wasn't Gabriel? Why didn't they go after Gabriel? Paul, all the patriarchs in the Old Testament, they all said this. And that's not what it means. That's just not what it means. So please, guys, I hope this was educational for you. I hope I broke this down very well. I hope I gave you guys some ammo, some of the verses to use, just because for me personally, this is just so frustrating when I constantly hear these Christian Trinitarian pastors talk about this and bring this up. Oh, John 8:58, because it says I am. It's just not accurate. It's just not. There's so many other names for Yud Hey Vav Hey. And I'm sorry, but Ego Aim is just not one. But guys, if you can, please like, subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, give me a comment, just talk to me in the chat. I appreciate that very much. And until next time, shalom.